I wanted to originally do a slideshow presentation of these, but I had more images in this portfolio, and I'm going to pass it around so you guys can look at it while I speak. It's a little funner to, more fun or more engaging, I think, to look at these rather than see them projected. It's interesting, Jarrell was talking about smartphones, and I guess, here you go. I guess almost everybody I'm looking at through the class has a smartphone, and like one of the favorite things that people like to do with them is take photos. The smartphones now make pretty good photos, but sometimes cell phone photos can look kind of boring, and so now there's a few websites and stuff. One of the most popular ones, Hipstamatic, and there's Instagram and stuff. They add filters and effects to your cell phone photos to kind of give them a different look, give them a different feel. And what I have with me today is actually a camera that a lot of those filters and effects are based off of. This is a Holga camera. It's a medium format film camera. They first started making these back in the 80s in Hong Kong. They're really cheaply made, mass-produced, Chinese-made cameras. They make really poor images. Some of the drawbacks to them, for instance, the focusing is very unsophisticated. As you can see here, you can either be as close as a person or as far away as a mountain. And that's like the level of sophistication of the focusing mechanism there. Another thing is cameras have shutter speeds. This one has 2 shutter speeds, and this is small and hard to see. I'm going to pass this around in a second. One is cloudy day, lightning bolt, and the other is sunshine. So you've got basically 2 shutter speeds, which give you very limited control over the image. Very limited control over the focusing. This is what you would look through to frame the photo, which does a really poor job at it. When you get a chance to look at this, you can barely see through this thing. When I make photographs with it, a lot of times I just kind of point and shoot. The advantage of the Holga, and why so many people like it, is it uses what's called medium format film. This is medium format roll film made by Kodak. There's only one place in town you can buy this now. It's Service Photo up on Falls Road. So they do still make and sell this. You have to mail it to the Midwest, to Missouri, and they process it. The roll of film and the cost to mail it to Missouri, to have it processed and made into negatives, costs more than the camera itself. Mine's always had this weird little shaky thing in it too, so I don't want to But the advantage of medium format, this I brought just so you could see, is a regular 35mm negative strip. The medium format negative is just about twice as big, which lets you enlarge it really, really big. Even from this really cruddy camera, I've made enlargements 42 inches by 42 inches with it for gallery shows and stuff. So I just wanted to go over like a couple more quirks about the camera because they are really fun to use. It's very light, it's very unassuming. You can really take it with you everywhere, except for they're so poorly made it usually will break unless you start doing things like taping it, and there should be tape on here, but I went without it for the demonstration. Also, you have to tape up this little film window so light doesn't get in. They designed it with a window that lets light into the unexposed film, which ruins it unless you tape it up. So the engineers at the Holga Corporation were, really, really thinking. But I'm going to go through the steps of loading this and passing it around, and you guys can click a few pictures. 2 things that you have when loading this. You've got the take-up side and the loading side. This side here is where the fresh film goes. What you're left with when you're done shooting a roll is a take-up spool. That simply goes right into here. Right into there. It fits right into that. This is what you twist to advance the film. I brought an unopened roll here. I'm going to remove this safety catch. This would unroll and expose it all and probably ruin it if you got to be real careful and just hold it really tightly when you load it in. Basically, you take the film, it's got this backing paper, and you find the slot in the take-up thing. You keep everything tightly pressed, and you just start to advance that in the direction of the arrow. And what's going to happen is eventually you'll achieve tension. That's when you can stop for a second, close your back, put tape on it. I don't have tape. Then you need to look in this little lookup window, because what roll film manufacturers do is they put guides on this film so that you can see when you need to stop and you've got a fresh image. So I'm looking through here. This isn't too exciting because basically I'm looking for the number 1. And that means first frame, Kodak film 1. So what you do when you've got this and you've got your scene in front of you, you basically decide, is it really bright out or is it kind of overcast? You set your shutter. I think it's sunbeam today, so I'm going to do that. And if I was making a picture of the whole group, there's a setting for a group of people, which corresponds to about 20 feet away, as you'd stand in front of like a large group at a party or something. You've got to pass that on. You can't steal it.
Sorry?
So yeah, and then you kind of frame it up, kind of decide where your focus is, and click. And you look in this little window, and you go to frame 2. And you throw it back in your backpack, and you continue on. If you guys want to, there's about 16 exposures on here. So you guys can go through and click and advance it sequentially in the next frame if you want to give it a shot. And yeah, look through the viewfinder, turn the thing. It's kind of hard to see out of it. It doesn't really work that well. But again, the poor construction and the poor lens, it gives the photos, and as you see with the portfolio coming around, just a really interesting look with dark corners, and it's sharply focused in the center, fades to out of focus at the sides. And yeah, if you use good film, you can make some really colorful, interesting images. Thank you, and I'll let that go around for a second if you guys want to peek at it a little more.
Thank you, sir. Nice work. Michelle.